Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hello, good day. Hi, Ritchie. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Nathalie?
I'm good, thank you. I'm so glad we got to this point. We are here, we have sound, we have an audience.
We're unmuted.
Yeah, unmuted. It's great to be back. It's been a long time since we've been here, so it's very exciting, and I'm glad that you can all join us. Who's all online with us today?
I saw Joe and Simon and Scott,
Yes. There is
Angela.
Joe.
Yeah,
That's
let us know.
right.
Let us know where you're tuning in from and who's there. And we're so
Give us-
excited to have you on. And this is an interactive program, so the more you guys chat with us, with each other, the better this show's going to be. So yeah, get to typing, and we're so excited for this.
Yes, absolutely, we are. I'm so excited that I'm actually, I can feel my heart racing today. It's been quite the journey to get here. I don't know if you can see that my location today is not Johannesburg, South Africa, but I'm actually live. I'm sitting in the Kingdom of Swaziland, now also known as Eswatini, where there are a lot of challenges, but we have overcome them, we hope. And we hope we're in for a good show today. What do you think, Ritchie?
Yeah, and I just want to say that there is some technical challenges, like there always is, but even more so this time. If the show suddenly cuts out, which hopefully it doesn't do, keep my fingers crossed, knocking on wood.
Yeah.
If the show should happen to cut out, we'll post a new link and get back live to finish the show. But it will require a different link, a different video. So we just ask for your patience if that should happen. We're crossing our fingers and knocking on wood, and hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it possibly will require a new link. I'm not 100% sure. Let's just hope it doesn't happen. But in case we freeze at some point and it says the live stream has ended, then please go to the channel and see, what has happened possibly. But yeah, let's hope we don't have to go there, and hope that we will be able to stream the show without any hiccups. Hi, Jerry. Thank you so much for joining us as well. It's great to have you here, just like everyone else. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And also let us know if you're here for the first time, or, if you are an old-timer like us who's here always. And I think that's all really cool. I'm ready to rock and roll and raring to go. Yeah. We've got quite a few things in our show today that we want to discuss. Some new things, some old things, some maybe forgotten things that we haven't done much of in previous episodes, since we've been on and off a little bit infrequently this year. We feel like, some things like the viewers' images have, taken a little bit of a backseat. So we will have a look at those from the last show. And we will also, what else are we going to talk about? We're going to catch up with things that Ritchie and I have been up to. So, so let's hope that's, all interesting and exciting, and we are excited to share those news with you.
And of course, we'll talk about film simulation recipes and all that kind of stuff, the usual things as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for plugging that in there. Yes, all of this is supposed to help you get better at getting it right in camera and shooting, like we say, straight out of camera results with the awesome film simulation recipes that Ritchie is producing at an incredible rate. So shall we dive in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get it started.
Okay, let's get it started. Let's do it. I'm all for it. Alrighty-o. So, in general, we, we'll be talking about the new recipes that you will be shooting with, which we call Eterna recipes. But before we do that, we've got some news to catch up with. And I will give the floor to Ritchie to start off with a really cool highlight that has played itself out a little while ago. So, Ritchie, what exactly was your daughter versus dad experience?
And some of you guys may have seen this on the website, but yeah, it's the most unfair camera comparison that there's probably ever been. The Fuji X-T50 versus the X-T30, dad versus daughter. I had the Fujifilm X-T50. My 7-year-old daughter, Johanna, had an X-T30. And we went to Michigan, did a photo walk. It was great, had a wonderful time. It was so great to meet a lot of you guys that showed up. We had a good crowd. And it was just really amazing campus there in Ann Arbor. We got to walk around and do some street photography, architectural photography, that kind of thing. And then afterwards, I did a comparison. I showed my daughter's photos and I showed my photos, and and I think we're going to take a look at some of those.
Yes. Do you want me to go there now?
Sure, we can.
Right. Okay. So what we've done is, we prepared those two collages for you, and one set of images is Ritchie's images, and one set of images is from his daughter Joanna. And we would like to throw it out to you guys. What do you think? Who created which images? And no,
Yeah, so
Ritchie,
is this
you're
set
not
here
allowed to
mine
make.
or is this set Johanna's?
Yes. Yeah, you're not allowed to do any funny facial expressions or give any hints. Into the
Oh, I
audience.
won't.
So this is one set of images. It
Mhm.
could be Ritchie's, it could be Joanna's. And then we have this set of images. Is it Johanna's? Is it Ritchie's? So what you have pointed out in your blog is that it's really cool for kids to experience shooting with the camera, because the camera angle is often different, because they are shorter, they see things differently lower down, and are very keen and curious, and they don't have those inhibitations that we have, like we maybe don't want to come too close to a person, or we don't have those boundaries. So they sometimes, because of that, together with talent, I guess, and a curious eye, they can create amazing images. So
Well, yeah, they're naturally creative, and then they haven't been told no or don't or can't so much that like we have, and so we're in a box formed by all these rules we've been told and stuff, and they just don't have that, or their box is a lot larger, and so it's amazing what they'll do if you give them a camera. And
yes.
so if you have children or nieces or nephews or something like that, I would encourage you to try something like this. Let them use one of your cameras, or if they're responsible and old enough, maybe even gift them a camera for Christmas or something along those lines, or for their birthdays.
Yes.
And I think it's a fun experiment. I think it's great to bring the family in and get the children into photography, and maybe they'll never make a career out of it or anything, but it could be a fun hobby nonetheless, for them.
Yes, absolutely. So we've got the first guesses coming through. Joe thinks that this second set are Ritchie's images. Have we got any other guesses? I not saying a thing. I don't know. I just can say that these images are all really cool. Very, very nice indeed. So I'm going to go one more time back to the other set of images. So take a good look at these ones. Take them in and see what you think. So this is the second set of
Yep.
images. So who the creator of these are. And then I'm going to go forward to the first set of images. So have a look, see what you think. Who created these images? So do we have any more guesses? There are no prizes to be won. It's just a little bit of lighthearted fun. Angela is saying, either way, your daughter is a great photographer already. Okay. I think so too. I definitely think so. Because all these images are really good. And it was
I think we
clearly...
could probably do the reveal.
Okay. All right. So there we go then. So these are
Yay.
your daughter's images. Congratulations.
Yeah, she used the Fujifilm X-T30 with the TT Artisan 27 millimeter f2.8 autofocus lens, and the Kodak Portra V2 recipe is what she used. And yeah, I was amazed by the photos that she captured. Some of them were inspiring to me as a, not just as a dad, being proud of what your child did, but just as an artist, just being inspired by it. So like that tree picture and how the branches go from the
Yes.
bottom right and the top left, it's like You know, that's really cool. Or the cat. I tried to take a photo of the cat. I did not get a good photo, but
Yeah,
but she managed. You know.
yeah, I absolutely love that picture. It's really cool. I love all of them. I think she did an excellent job. But you know, not to take away from your set of images, I think they're also really good, really nice.
Yeah, and mine was with the XT50 and the I think I used the 27 millimeter pancake, the Fujifilm one.
Yeah.
And the film, I used the film dial recipe for those who are familiar with that.
Yeah. Yeah, we've spoken about that in the previous episode. A very ingenious way of creating recipes. So very nice. So thank you guys for your comments. And yes, maybe your daughter is watching. maybe she will be watching later. But either way, if she misses those compliments, please tell her from all of us that she did a fantastic job, and that we hope we will see.
And she really enjoyed
her.
She really enjoyed the photo walk. So if you guys have a photo walk in your local area, maybe consider bringing your child or niece or nephew or grandchild or whatever along with you on it. It'd be a good experience.
Yeah, I can only recommend it. It's great fun. It may be something nice to do now over the festive season when we, you know, spend some time with family. Cool. Well, thank you so much for this little guessing game. That was fun.
Yeah.
We should do this more often. But you have some more highlights. You've gone into production for some camera products.
Yeah, so I partnered with Evergreen Cases, and together we made a protective case for the Fujifilm X100 series cameras, like the X100-6, X100V, X100F. I have one right here with my camera protected inside of it. It's really great for travel and adventure. That's kind of what it was invented for, like somebody who's like going backpacking, kayaking, shock-proof, weatherproof, or shock-resistant, weatherproof. You know, it'll take a beating and still keep your camera protected. So that's the idea behind it. And so, you know, if you're just going like to do some street photography, something like that, it's not really intended to be like a camera bag, not to replace a camera bag, but it's like if you're needing extra protection for your camera to keep it safe while you're doing adventurous things, that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, it looks very cool, and it definitely looks like it'll keep all the dust and water out. So very nice. We can't leave you alone. Come up with
so it's on Amazon, B&H, and also can be bought directly through Evergreen Cases. So those are the places you can find it. It's $50. I guess that I'll end my plug there. That's the end of my commercial. But.
Which reminds me that let me see if I can post a link. We're trying something new here, and I kind of like have these links here saved. So if you want to go and check out the case, you can go and use the link in the comments, and I see it has posted, so I'm quite excited about that. Yeah, if you want to read up on it, and there's also links then to the page to purchase. So thank you for this. That's a really cool gadget, and maybe a nice Christmas present.
Yeah, could make a nice Christmas present.
Nice. Okay. For something completely different, I clearly also had a little bit too much time on my hand because I got myself convinced to start a series about film simulations. So I'm in in episode number 3, and I'm writing about I'm writing about every film simulation. I'm dedicating one main episode and then a couple of side posts to it to really go deep and dig into what all the film simulations are about, so that we can then be even more informed about when we use the recipes on top of that. So yeah, I'm going right back to the beginning and start like that. It's a lot of fun, and it will, as you can see, last for a couple of months. So you can hop over onto my blog and check it out, and hopefully you will enjoy the series and learn something from it.
And I want to add that if you guys haven't seen it, you guys need to go through. There's 3 articles so far in it, and go and read those and keep up on it. Follow Nathalie's blog. This is like the coolest series that's currently going on on the internet for Fujifilm cameras. So definitely check out her blog, follow it, comment on her articles, all that kind of stuff.
Shame. Thank you very much, Ritchie. That's very kind. Now, I'm even turning red on top of my shiny face, which I need to apologize for. But I'm sitting, like I said, I'm sitting in Eswatini. It's really hot and very humid here. And I'm sitting in a room where, because I want to keep the noise down so you guys can have good sound, so I'm sitting without a fan or aircon. So it's rather warm here. But, anything for a good show. So I'm happy to sacrifice.
So it's summertime, super hot, humid, no air conditioning. I hope you brought some water with you.
I did, definitely.
Okay.
So I needed to get that off my chest. And, and thank you so much for the nice and kind words. But before we get into the crunch of the recipes for this show, we wanted to revisit the recipes and the viewers' images that you've submitted from the last episode, and have a nice look at what you guys all came up with. You are more than welcome to and invited to comment. You're also welcome to ask any questions related to the images that we are looking at, to the recipes, or, give a shout out if there's an image that stands out to you in particular. So don't hold back and, share your thoughts with us.
So anyway. I wanted to add that this is a segment that we used to do on the show. And then we stopped doing it for the sake of time, because our shows were getting to be like 3 hours long, and so we're trying to pull back on the time and have a shorter program. And we put the viewers' images also in its own standalone video, which we're still doing. And these images are in a video that have been posted to the Straight Outta Camera Live YouTube channel. And if you haven't seen the video, be sure to watch it, but we'll also have it at the very end. We're going to include it. So stay for that. Stay after the show for that.
Yes.
But we wanted to actually bring your guys' photos back into the program. We really enjoy them. And it's a big part of the thrill for us to see what you guys are doing. So we're very happy and honored to be able to do this again.
Yeah, it's always been one of our favorite segments, and we try some different things and whatever, and are happy to have the chance to look at some of the images and make this, end of season episode a little bit of a celebration. So let's dive into some unsung recipes, as we call them. So
and
go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, I was going to say that, one of the unsung recipes from the last episode, if you guys haven't seen that episode, go back and watch it. But one of them was, what is really cool about this image by Dan Allen is that it's completely out of focus. Like it's blurry. And it just goes to show that sharpness is overrated. We tend to focus on getting it like just perfectly sharp. But sometimes, if you have a fuzzy picture, it can still be really interesting.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And these colors are so striking that it's, very, very, a very cool creation here. So Big up to Dan. But also big up to Simon, who I think is watching today, who created this image with the same recipe. It's almost hard to believe when you check the colors that this can come out from, the same recipes. But yeah, it's really nice. I love the situation that was captured there. A very nice moment. Definitely not in summer though. So yeah, nice. I want to give people a chance to give a shout out if they have something to say about the image. And we are lagging a little bit behind on the comments. So we just need to wait a moment for your comments to come through. Because I can see that you guys are commenting and, it's on the previous image. So I just want to give everyone a chance to give a shout out if there is such a thing. So yeah, but great image, Simon. Nice, and thanks for
and it's
submitting.
challenging to get like a photo where you have that movement, but you've froze it in time. It takes having a faster speed, and sometimes that's not always possible. I was doing something. My son had his birthday's in a week, but we had his birthday party last night, and they went to like a fun center, and the kids are all moving around really fast. And, trying to freeze their emotion is definitely challenging. So good on Simon for doing it in this photo.
Yes.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. Yeah, and Astia Summer in general, really makes those colors pop, as we saw in Dan's previous image. And you can just see it a little bit in the reds of that picture also. All right, and then moving along to the next recipe that we discussed, which was expired Velvia, which has, as you can see, a completely different look and feel.
So this recipe was modeled after, I know we already discussed it in the last show, but it was modeled after some frames where somebody had some well expired Velvia film, shot it, had it developed, scanned, and it looked way different. It looked so much different than what you would expect Velvia to look like. And so I was able to use his photos to make a recipe, and it's definitely not one of the more popular ones, but it can produce very interesting results.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend that you give it a try if you haven't yet, because it's a lot of fun to experiment with. All right, so thank you, Angela, for your submission. We have another one from Enrico, who also shot with this recipe and has a completely different scene here. And I absolutely love this red bicycle in the middle. So that must be, very, it's a very cool image, sorry. So if you have an image, a scene where you really want your reds to pop, then this is definitely a good recipe to use.
Yeah, but in that red bicycle is really what makes that picture,
Yeah. All right, cool. And then moving on to Velvia example, and that is from Bo de Lange, who sent us this picture. And I think that it just is such a nice combination of the scene and the mood together with choosing this recipe for this scene. However simple it is, I think it's really well taken. A really nice photograph. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's really cool. And when you can combine the right light with the right scene and the right recipe, you can, that's when it all comes together kind of magically.
Yes. I wanted to say that you published recently a post on fall images. So that was obviously a little while ago, going into your autumn season. and you recommended recipes. But just looking at this now, was expired Velvia on that list? I don't remember.
It was not, but maybe it should have been.
Because it definitely, sorry, it does a really good job at that. So if you have a list and if you want to try something out, maybe add this too and see how it works for you.
Yeah.
And then we also have a black and white recipe that we brought into our selection, and that is monochrome negative. And I think that was also a lot of fun to use. We haven't done a lot of black and white recently, so quite a few people took that up, which is nice.
Yeah, and so, thanks to Jonathan Martin for submitting this one. And, we have scenes like that in this part of the region where I am. And it's pretty cool to see, the rocks in the desert and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Sorry, guys. I see that we are still moving along too fast because there are comments coming through for the previous images. So I really do apologize. But I'm trying my best here. But these are really cool images from everyone. And thank you for all your comments on those. And this submission from Jocelyn Besnier is a nice scene from one of those typical stands in Paris, which I kind of like recognize from when I used to go there as a little kid, when my dad took me there. So I really like that scene. And obviously, the recipe is a great choice for this.
And that reminds me, like your dad was a photographer, and I believe you did some photography as a kid. Did your dad give you like a camera sometimes and have you like photograph with him? Do you have like memories of that and stuff?
He did actually, yes. So I believe I was about 7 or 8 when he gave me my first camera. It was a little. It was a film camera, and it took square pictures. That was really awkward. I was a little bit ahead in the Instagram game. He really enjoyed having a companion that he could drag around while he was going out for photo shoots. But in those days, I'm mainly photographed for some family functions and with friends and on holidays. But yeah, it was good fun. So I can only recommend that you do the same with your kids. Just, leave them be to do their stuff. Anyway, so all great images all around. And this here we said is going to be our featured image out of all the submissions that we received. So congratulations to Torsten for this capture. Sorry, that
we got sound effects.
Yes, we do. Loud ones too. So I think this is really cool and a really play on graphics and lines and shadows that do so well in black and white in particular. So I thought that was really outstanding.
Yeah, it's a really cool picture. I like the highlights and shadows and just the lines and the number 4 just like right there in the perfect spot. So yeah, that's really cool.
Absolutely excellent. So thank you for that. Thank you for that submission. I hope that you will print this image. Let's not forget.
What would be a really cool series for Torsten is like if he did some other black and white photos where he finds like different numbers and has like a numbers series. Just throwing that out there. That could be a cool little project.
Yes, it is. I hope you are listening. If not right now, then hopefully maybe you will catch up on it and get that input, because I think that is an absolutely fantastic idea. We've got great comments coming in here for previous images. So I feel we are losing out. Oopsie. I feel we are losing out not seeing those. So I'm going to do what we said we are not doing. Oh, golly, gosh. No, I'm making a mess. I'm sorry. I'm making a mess of it all. But we have a comment for Jonathan. So I'm quickly bringing that on. And here from Jerry. So he says that it's very well framed, which is what we all think. It's amazing how the desert scene makes you feel so small. Could always almost miss your little one at the bottom. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. I think that is true. And then we have also a comment for Jocelyn. Jerry is on a roll. Thank you, Jerry, for your comments. It's a postcard of postcards, and he still collects postcards when traveling, which is also cool. So thank you for those comments. And then we have here another comment, again by Jerry, who says it's an intense scene, looks dangerous to get to those rocks. Yes, it's very, very moody. It's almost got this noir kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Sorry, and then we've almost caught up with all the comments. Thank you, Robert. Big congrats. So thank you. All right. I will stop missing.
I thought there was one. I thought there was a comment on I saw on Dan's photo.
A comment on Dan's photo. Yes, that is right. Do you want me to bring that up
Sure.
again? No. Yeah. Where were we? Let's have a look. See. There were actually. Okay. Let me try and do this in one go. There we go. Here. So here is Jerry, who says that he thinks it's so lighter-like. Okay, that's very cool. I think he has a point there.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely impressionist for sure. Like, I think that's cool.
Yeah. Very nice. Okay, cool stuff. All right.
Well, thanks for everybody who gave some kind words and participated, and I love seeing the kindness and the comments and the chatting and the you guys just having that community. It's great.
Yes. Yes. And Dan is saying he just joined late, but you're not too late to get some flowers for your image, your submission.
Yeah.
So well done, Dan. All right, cool stuff. Excellent. Here we go. Let's move on. Let's dive into the heart of our show today, which is looking at a selection of image recipes that have been based on Eterna. Now, in our previous episode, we ran a poll and we asked what people are hungry for, what they would be interested in shooting and testing in recipes. And one of the suggestions was to look at recipes that are based on Eterna. And Angela is here today, so thank you, Angela, for that input and for that inspiration. So that's exactly what we're doing today.
Yay!
And, yes, and since we, know now that I'm looking a little bit into film simulations in general, I thought let's do that quickly, just to set the tone we don't usually choose recipes that are based only on one film simulation. But since this is, today is quite unique, we thought it makes a lot of sense, because the more you know about the base simulation, which is kind of like what sets the tone for the entire recipe's look and feel, it makes a lot of sense, and you will see as you go along how they kind of like tie together. Is that fair to say, Ritchie?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of you can make recipes look very different from each other, but the overall base foundation of the film simulation makes probably the biggest difference of any of the settings.
Yes. So so the Eterna film simulation is based on the big a successful motion picture film in general, and that's why it was created to give your images a cinematic film look. Even though I feel this is it's quite a big word. Maybe cinematic look is overused a little bit in the community these days, but it's definitely less digital. And in general, it has a more of a flat tone curve. So this is the big thing that a lot of people are saying, that if you don't want highlights to blow out, and if you want as much detail in the shadows as possible, then Eterna is your friend. And it reins in the colors a little bit, so everything is more muted and contained and a little bit flatter, to give you the option to edit it afterwards. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And there's something that you pointed out about the high ISO.
So for digital noise, it's the best looking once you get to the high ISO. So for myself, I will typically top out at ISO 6400 for color film. With Eterna, I will sometimes go to 12.8, so 12,800. So you can bump up the ISO a little bit when you use Eterna, because the way that the digital noise looks with it.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting fact. So we definitely have to test that. And now I can finish my point that I was saying about the editing. Okay. So Fujifilm themselves actually mentioned that Eterna itself wants to be edited. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you have a very flat image that this is supposed to be the end result, but often it gives you the opportunity to play around with the edits afterwards, so that you can put more contrast in, and you have the detail in the highlights and in the shadows available to you. Although this is not really where we're going, but it's still really good to know. I think what you can add to this is that the recipe that we now put on top is your editing. It doesn't have to be in post. It can still be in camera. But with those additional settings, we then round it off to special looks that we will check just now. So let's dive in and let's have a look at the recipe selection that we've got here for you.
Sure.
I'm handing over to you to introduce those recipes, Ritchie.
Sure. Yeah, so we picked 3 that we thought would be fun to try out and for you guys to use. There's a little bit of variety in how they're going to render and when you might use them. The first is Timeless Negative. The next is Santacolor, which, funny enough, when we chose this, we weren't, we've had a lot of stuff going on, and we've had to delay this episode a little bit. And when we picked that one, it wasn't necessarily, we weren't thinking, the Christmas special, So it just happened to work out that the Santacolor recipe is in our December episode. So that was kind of fun. And then Vintage Color. So we'll take a look at all 3 of those.
Yes. let's have a look at all three of those. Okay. So timeless negative first. I thought it was really interesting how this recipe grew on me. So I can't say I was crazy about it to begin with, but it's definitely got a 1970s vibe, and it's very versatile. But sometimes I thought it's just a little bit so-so. But this was before I actually used it properly. And on a note also, you have another recipe by the same name, but that's not based on Eterna.
Yes. So the timeless negative was first made with the nostalgic negative film simulation for X-Trans 5 cameras, X-Trans V. And there's some commonality between Eterna and nostalgic negative. So I modified that recipe using Eterna for X-Trans 4 cameras. There's a little difference. This one's not exactly like the nostalgic negative one, but it's pretty similar. As similar as you're going to get.
Yes.
This recipe is very versatile, and I love to use it during the holidays. I use it at Thanksgiving. I use it at Christmas. Just November and December is, for whatever reason, that's when I use this recipe. I have for a couple of years now, and I enjoy it just for capturing family moments. Meeting Santa. The kids meeting Santa or opening presents on Christmas Day, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's super versatile, and the nice thing is you can use it outdoors and indoors, so that definitely helps. It's one of those you can dial it in and forget about it and just keep shooting with it, which is always really handy. So let's have a look at the different samples that we've prepared for you, so that you can get a bit of a feel of what it looks like. And this first one is yours.
Yep. And this just kind of gives you an idea of the cinematic. We talked about the Eterna having a cinematic quality. You can kind of see that in this photo, but also how reds will look. There's some yellow in here. It's just just trying to present you with some colors that you can get an idea in your own photos. This was in a shaded area, so you can kind of just try and present you with these different scenarios and in subjects and lighting and colors and stuff, so that you might be able to gauge in your own photos how it could look.
Yes, so this is definitely a great example for different colors. I definitely feel that it lifts the shadows quite a lot, so this is why I chose this as an example, because the boats or the canoes on the side here, they were quite in the shade quite a lot. So this actually lifted the shadows and just made it a bit more opened up the image quite a bit more and evened out the highlights and the shadows. So that's
and if you had used
really nice.
like for example Kodachrome, right? If you use Kodachrome 64 recipe, those shadows might have been just black.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And at the right time, this is good. But I think for something like this, for example, I enjoyed that it opened it up like this, and similar to this scene, I think as well, Ritchie.
Yeah, and I chose this one because of the it's a high contrast scene with shadows and highlights, but also the other one was in shadow, so I wanted in shade, so I wanted this one to be a sunny scene, and then the green. I didn't have a lot of examples of how it was going to look with green, so I wanted to provide an example of that. So that was the purpose of including this photo.
Yeah. So you could definitely think of a movie scene that looks something like that, where the people have just left.
I would have been nice if there were some people in those chairs,
Or they're still coming or whatever.
Yeah.
No, but it's still a very nice scene. Right, and I played around with the shadows and highlights, and this scene, the foreground would have dropped quite a bit, I think, and I would have lost a lot of detail with another recipe. So I was very happy to see that work like this, and at the same time still keep the contrast as punchy as it is, and make that red lighthouse in the distance pop like that.
Which lens did you use? Do you remember?
This must have been the 56
Okay.
1.2. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's
I can see that.
my absolute favorite lens.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I like to say that I have that lens, but my wife has that lens, and I get to borrow it sometimes. You know.
Yeah. No, you must.
It's really good.
We went on a road trip recently, and I think I shot 50% of my images with that lens. I was getting laughed at for using a so-called portrait lens for everything but portraits, but I just absolutely love it. Yeah. Anyway, getting carried away here. We've got a very special scene.
Yeah.
in these
So
colours.
those who watch like movies filmed in New York, Home Alone 2, or anything like that, you probably recognize exactly where this is in Central Park. But this guy was just playing his guitar there. His kids were off to the side dancing to his music, and it was a cool scene. But it was very warm because of the artificial light, and you can kind of see how the recipe will do in a situation like that where the lights are very orange, yellow, and yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool little scene, and the recipe did well with it. Even though it is a warm picture, I think it's not like obnoxiously warm, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no, definitely not overly warm, and yeah, a really really nice capture, and it's nice that you can see the details still in the archways behind the musician. That's really nice. And I think this is the picture that swung me around to this version of this recipe, because I did not shoot it in that recipe. I shot it in something else, in Fujicolor 100 Gold, which is a lot more contrasty and punchier. And I converted this to see what it looks like. And I just feel that it has definitely this retro film look to this. So maybe apart from the sharpness in the image, I think this could definitely pass as a print of something was taken when this car was actually being driven on the streets.
Yeah, it's a cool photo just for a lot of reasons. Not just because of the car that's in it, but yeah, it definitely has that more of a 1970s, maybe 1980s, vibe to the look of the photos.
Yeah. So when I saw this, I'm like, oh, I didn't do this justice. So try this recipe. It's definitely a lot of fun, especially when when you also enjoy shooting older cars and stuff. It's going to be very rewarding using this recipe. So yay for Timeless Negative.
Yep.
And just to summarize, it's has a similar look to Nostalgic Neg, the film simulation itself. Maybe it's not quite as warm, especially
the shadows. The shadows aren't quite as warm.
Yeah.
That's probably the most notable difference. But if your camera doesn't have nostalgic negative, this is probably the best recipe to kind of get that vibe of that film simulation.
Yeah. So definitely a great start. And if you are someone who likes to use one recipe and how you always say, Richie, set and forget.
Set
This
and
is
forget.
definitely
Yeah.
definitely one for the holidays for you. But this is not all. Like we said, we have 3, and here is the Santacolor for Christmas time.
Yeah.
But I believe the name doesn't have anything to do with Christmas or Santa at all.
No. Yeah, neither. Yeah, it's named after a film that the film simulation is mimicking. So the film is called Santacolor 100, and so we have a Santacolor film simulation recipe.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea that there was such a film out there, but it clearly was. So
Like one of
yeah,
those obscure ones that that's come out recently, and I think it was a limited run. And I believe it may have even been. It's been a little while since I looked at it, but I believe it may have been a motion picture stock that was converted to be able to process in C41 chemistry,
okay.
if I remember correctly. I could be
Yeah.
wrong about that, but that's what I seem to remember about it.
All right. Just in time, Brad is asking a question regarding Santacolor, and he says, any tweaks to blue and white balance you would suggest when using Xtrans 5, given color chrome blue is already off?
Yeah, so we were going to talk about this just a little bit later, but it's a great time to bring it up now. Natalie and I had this discussion actually yesterday as we were doing the show prep, and all 3 of the recipes we're showing today are Xtrans 4 recipes. They're not for Xtrans 5 cameras. However, you can use them with Xtrans 5. But the problem is there's 4 film simulations that Xtrans 5 renders blue a little bit more dark than Xtrans 4. And that's Classic Chrome, Classic Negative, Eterna, and Eterna Bleach Bypass. So since these are all Eterna recipes, to get the same exact look, you need to set color chrome effect blue down 1. So if it calls for color chrome effect blue weak, you would set it to off. If it calls for color chrome effect blue strong, you would set it to weak. And the problem with Santacolor is that it calls for color chrome effect blue to be off, so you can't go any further down than that. And so basically with this recipe, you have to just accept the results for what they are, which is that blue will be slightly deeper on Xtrans 5 than Xtrans 4. And the question is can you adjust the white balance shift, maybe the blue value by 1, and it doesn't really produce the same results. So I don't really feel that that's a good strategy. You can try that and see if you like it. Maybe you'll like it, but we had this discussion, Natalie and I, that with the Eterna film simulation, blue is kind of understated. It's a little bit muted. It's not a major part of the look. And so the difference between color chrome effect blue being, for example, weak versus being off is very small. It's not anything it's not gonna make a major difference. So my recommendation for using this recipe on Xtrans 5 is just to use it as it is and not make any adjustments. And it's going to look nearly the same.
Excellent.
So I hope that answers the question.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that detailed answer. And Dan is just really excited about the recipe, so that's really cool. So let's dive in and let's have a look at some sample images, and then we can, go back and discuss some more details about it. So this is your first sample pictures, which I think is absolutely fantastic, Richie.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's in New York City, and I just I saw the bicyclist and was trying to time it just right, and But I like how the recipe it warms up the scene. It does give it reddish orange kind of cast to it, which can be good. It can be bad, just depending on the situation. This recipe is not as versatile as the last one we looked at, so you can't use it in all. You can't set it and forget it like the other one. But in a scene where you do need some warmth, this recipe does really well. Since there was a lot of shadow, I think the warmth added to the recipe.
Yeah, it makes the whole scene come alive, and it looks really 3D. So I think that's fantastic. So in those street scenes, it does extremely well.
Yeah, and this is a really cool picture. I like this one a lot. I like how the sign just like pops out right there, and then of course we have to have your dog in the show. It wouldn't be a proper show without him. But
It's like Waldo. He has to sneak in here or there. This time, not so obvious, but he's still there. Yes, yeah. My husband and my dog having a moment. Clearly, but you can see the red overall is quite pronounced. So yeah, so that's definitely something to be. Either you like this kind of look or you don't. But it's always kind of there.
And then another dog. We had to get another dog in here. Or whatever that is. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Some kind of beast.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But this is definitely not anywhere nearly as red.
Yeah, and it's so this was in the shade. It was like partly overcast, and it was during a time that it was overcast.
Okay.
I guess. Like the sun was peeking out and hiding and peeking out and hiding, and this was, when the sun wasn't shining. So that hopefully gives an idea of what that does for you guys out there who might be using this recipe in that kind of situation.
Yeah, definitely a good example to keep in mind when testing. And in this scene, I think it was sunny, but the mountains in the background gain definition, so they definitely pop out. So so with other recipes, it would have been a lot more of just a shady blurb in the background, but I love how it just lifts that and brings, and also the roof in the house has a lot more definition with this recipe. So that's where it really comes to life. It's really nice.
Yeah, and I included this one because I use a flash. So I wanted to kind of show, like, using this recipe with a flash, what would that look like? And so that's my son, John, in our backyard. So, yeah, and then you see the reds. The reds tend to pop with this recipe.
Nice.
So if you got red and you want it to pop, this might be one to try.
Yeah, no, that's really, it's cool to get different examples, and that's the whole point of us showing these images, so that you can get an idea as to all the different scenarios and how the recipe handles all these different scenes. So thank you for that. And what I discovered is that because of the red and orange quality, it really lends itself very well for sunsets and sunrises, because it just adds more of that quality that's already in the scene. So I really enjoyed it for those kinds of scenarios. Yeah. And this is a Santacolor. So we hope you like what you see there and are inspired to try it out, especially over the Christmas season. And it's just forget that it's called after a film and that it's just a recipe that needs to be used over the holidays.
Just for the name. Even though the name has nothing to do with the holiday,
Yes,
you got to use it
exactly.
over the holiday.
Yeah. Let's get creative. All right. And then we have one last recipe, which is very special and can create amazing results, which is called vintage color. It's a creation that is also, like the other ones, based on Eterna. And you got inspired by seeing someone else's project, Ritchie. Lisa Sogini, if I pronounce this correctly.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but yeah, behind glass project.
Yeah.
That's where the inspiration came from, and kind of by chance, it has a Hudson River School of painters vibe to it as well. So it's definitely what I would call an artist recipe. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always look good, but when it does work, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, so I think your sample images that you have in the recipe that we can see here in the screenshot are outstanding, and that's kind of a good guidance as to where this recipe shines in particular. But that's not the only situations where you can use it. Definitely
So
street
you can
scenes.
use it at Yosemite National Park, or you can use it in Manhattan. There-
Yeah, you've definitely been out on lots of street walks recently.
yeah, it's been amazing. It's been really amazing, and I've been able to meet so many people and everything, and just talk to different, photographers, a lot of Fujifilm photographers, and it's been a journey. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, really nice. I'm not at all jealous. No. So I took this photograph on a pretty overcast day, and I was walking over a golf course that is being has already closed down and is being converted into a shopping center, which broke my heart because I really enjoyed the golf course. But I thought, like, this number there, like all dilapidated, lying on its side, was a good, sign. The grass is high and everything. So just capturing how this little golf course that's brought so much joy to so many golfers now has to make way to something else. So I thought it was, nice and vintagey maybe. But you can definitely use it on overcast days, as long as there's lots of light, I would say.
Yeah, this recipe can very easily go too yellow, and so in the right situations, it really works well. And then otherwise you might get like something that's not as exciting, I guess.
Yeah.
But this one here, it kind of demonstrates that the shadows are darker than on some of the other recipes that we've shown today, but you still have some shadow detail. They're not completely all black.
Yes.
And also the highlights do really well. It handles highlights. As long as you don't go too far, you have to be careful for that. Because this is a good recipe to have your histogram up, to make sure you don't blow out the highlights. But if you don't go too far, if you're careful not to go too far with them, it does really well at preserving the detail in them.
Yes. Yeah, and also to state that the original image has more detail in the shadows. It's not as dark as you can see it on the screen now. But so it's definitely something to use in a street walk, or when you find old buildings. I thought I enjoyed using it
cool.
in that village. It was a fishing village with, some old historic houses and some new ones, and I enjoyed capturing scenes in this recipe for that. It kind of like complemented that, I think. Sorry, I just want to move on to the next picture, which is another street scene of yours with this lady with these really cool pants. I love these pants.
Yeah, I was trying really hard to take a photo and not be noticed that I was taking a photo. And if you zoom in, you can do it here, but you see that she is looking at her phone and not at me. I think I was able to sneak one.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just, sometimes in New York City, you just get people that are dressed interestingly. And yeah, that's what I just found.
Yes. Yeah. No, very nice. I dig her. I want to be her. And I want those pants. Really nice. Yeah, and here I just tried something again with this idea in mind that I want to create something that will look like it reminds you of a time when actually a photograph was taken like 20 years ago or something, and this is a print. So I thought a nice manual kind of labor. This is a sheep shed, a sheep shearing shed, and
say that 5 times fast.
I can't even say it once properly. So yeah, and behind this basket is actually like three full sheep of hay. I forget what it's called, but it's like the one set of sheep hair, wool, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, so we were staying on a sheep farm, and they were showing us how they shear the sheep, and I love this old style look of it. And so yeah, this recipe, I think it's cool to combine that with scenes that remind you of something that was a long time ago. So it's maybe not ideal because it's indoors, so it becomes really yellow, but I thought for this scene it definitely works.
Yeah, it does. That yellow brings a nostalgia to it.
Yeah. So yeah, and this is vintage color. Just to summarize, like we said, it's warm and contrasty, so more for outdoors, but don't ever let us stop you from trying it differently. And yeah, like we said, you watch highlights and use it sparingly, maybe.
Yeah, or deliberately, like
Deliberately.
you have to like think about when it would be good.
Yeah.
And then use it in those situations. And it's not a set and forget, but in the right situations, it can be absolutely fantastic.
Yes, definitely. So we definitely encourage you to try this. I think the 3 recipes are all very different from one another, and you get very different results. So you should, take some time over the holidays and give those a try. There is a question to vintage color, so I'm just going to bring that up. An analog annex says, I love what vintage color does to greens. Would you say it works best with a bit of overexposure? Seems so from your photos.
It can. You just have to watch for those highlights. It does, because it uses Eterna as the base. It does help to rein in those shadow and highlight details, right? It tends to preserve them fairly well. But this recipe in particular, of the 3, you just gotta make sure you just don't push it too far. It's easy to do that, or it's easier to do that with this recipe than the other 2. So yeah, just be careful for that. And that's why I said, if you use your histogram on the back of it, just make sure it doesn't go too far to the right. And as long as you're careful for that, then yeah, a little overexposure can do it good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this. And so here are our 3 Eterna recipes. Just one more time in an overview. We have Timeless Negative. Remember, this is what we said is our all-rounder. It's the set and forget. It's super versatile. It's definitely great for some vintage, nostalgic-looking images. You can play around with it in all kinds of scenarios over the festive season. And then we have Santacolor. Where's the Christmas hat when you need it? Which has a very different quality, but definitely also renders some great results. And we've heard from people in the comments they are excited to try that out, so that's good. We can't wait to see what you create with them. And then lastly, vintage color for those special moments and really warm and vintagey feel.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, these are all X-Trans 4 recipes. However, for Timeless Negative and Vintage Color, just move Color Chrome Effect Blue down one spot for X-Trans 5. And for Santacolor, just use it as it is and don't worry about the Color Chrome Effect Blue. It'll render just slightly different, but the blues in Eterna are so subtle that I don't think it's going to matter too much.
Excellent. I think that is a really great reminder. And yeah, we've discussed it earlier, but only because a recipe is meant for one specific sense, it doesn't mean that you can't use it at all. Be a little bit mindful and also know that often these differences are quite subtle. They're not going to give you a completely different result. And unless you are super specific with the look that you want to create, because you are trying to recreate a film look specifically as close as possible to the original, oftentimes it really doesn't matter all that much. So you can definitely give those a try. And if you are new to using recipes, then just play and repeat this section a couple of times and also go back to when Ritchie answered the question while we were looking at Santacolor, because it can be a lot of information all at once when you're not used to this. But it's really good input. It's a really good piece of advice. So yeah, do that. And while you're at it, take a screenshot of this so that you have a good overview over our 3 recipes and the general qualities, the differences, as a nice reminder. I love to do that myself also because it can get quite confusing when you've used lots of different recipes. I have absolutely no idea how you do it, Ritchie, that you always know exactly what all your babies all your babies and creations are, and the qualities to it. It gets overwhelming. So a little bit of a flashcard goes a long way.
Yeah. And you can find all these recipes at FujiXweekly.com and in the Fuji X Weekly app. And we'll post links to them so that you can find them. But yeah, the Fuji X Weekly app's available for both Android and Apple. It's free to download, free to use, and you can subscribe to unlock advanced features and get a better app experience. But they're free. The recipes are free. So
yes, and I've just posted the link. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. But here they are now, so you can check them out. But we will also have them in the description, and if you go to the website, you can catch up with all of that too. Yeah, fantastic. All right, and here is Brad again. He's got them starred, so that's a really good
Awesome.
good way to do this.
Hmm.
If you're thinking of reasons why to get a subscription for the Fuji X Weekly app, this is definitely a fantastic reason. It helps you to sort your recipes with different color stars. I'm not quite sure what I would do without them. So it's very, very handy to have. Okay. All right. And as always, and only because it's going to be 2025, nothing's changing. We still want you to submit your images. So go and use this festive season to create lots and lots of different images in all those different recipes. And then see which ones you like the most and share your 3 favorites with us. Use this link to upload them. You can use the QR code, obviously, and scan that, or just screenshot this so that you have the link. Or you can go to the website sooc.live, where you can also find the link and other information about this. And you have until the 13th of January, which is a good month. So hopefully that'll be enough time to create lots and lots of awesome JPEGs.
Yeah, and definitely include the recipe name in the file name, or give us some background information, so that way we can know which are which. Sometimes, like last episode, the recipes were different enough that we could tell them apart just by looking at them. But these ones are all going to be so similar. The recipes are different. They're each going to produce its own result, but they're all based on Eterna, so it's going to be a lot more tricky for us to figure out which recipe you used without that information included.
Yes, definitely do that for us. Thank you. And yeah, there we go. Start shooting now. Well, from tomorrow or from this afternoon,
after this
depending
episode.
on where you are based. Fantastic. Thank you. This was really great fun. Like we said, we do want your questions. There is some time still to give you some answers. If you have any more questions from your side, if there's anything burning that you want to have answered, anything that baffles you, that you need clarification on, we're here right now. We don't want to send you off into the holidays, and you are stuck with a question that you never asked. So while we're here still, shoot.
Yeah, we're here for you guys. So whatever you have, whatever is on your mind, or you've been thinking about or wondering about, this is a good opportunity to ask, and we'd love to help you if we can. I guess we can't always, but if we can't, then we'll try and maybe see if we can incorporate that to a future episode or something.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely try to get your wishes heard. Like you saw this time around with Angela and the Eterna images. So yeah, so we always see and try to incorporate it. Robert is just saying that he really enjoyed Timeless Negative, and this is how he found out Eterna. And he made his own recipe with Eterna as well. So
cool.
There you go.
Yeah, awesome.
This is great.
Yeah, and Robert, if you want, you feel free to add that recipe into the comment if you want. If anybody else is interested in trying it out, if you want to, you don't have to, but
yes,
just throwing that out there. If you would like to, you can.
Do you used to have a community page with recipes on it? Do you still have that resource?
Technically, it's still up, but it had basically it got some attacked, I guess.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And so it kind of made it to where I couldn't do anything more with it, and just
Okay.
I didn't want those recipes to disappear, so they're still technically online, but you can't really add anything new to it. So
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe there's other ways or whatever. So anyway, share if you wish. I'm sure people would be interested to see what other people come up with. So yeah, excellent. What's left? We want to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and share it with others who you think would also be interested in joining the community and getting some information on, shooting straight out of camera. So if that's up your alley, and give us a thumbs up. And that way you will not miss out on any of the new stuff that's coming up, because like we've already said, we are definitely going to be back in 2025. But as you know, we always like to change things up, and we are putting our thinking cap under our Christmas hats and we will see how we can hopefully improve. You are more than welcome to give your input, what you think of the shows. If you are new and you haven't seen the previous seasons, go and check them out. There's lots of playlists on the channel that you can check out, and let us know what you like the most, what you maybe not like, what you're missing out on, and what you would like to see more of. We are open to suggestions, because we love the interactions and we want to have this platform for everyone. So the more we can suit it to everybody else, the better.
yeah, and we will change up the format in next year. We always do, going into the year, and we look at what worked and what didn't work, and what we liked and what we didn't like, and also take in your suggestions and stuff. And we're not exactly sure yet what that'll fully look like. We've had some discussions and some ideas, but we're excited to see what does happen, and what the new year will bring.
Yes. So whatever it will bring, it will definitely also still have you sharing your images. So don't forget to upload them until the 13th of Jan. And and then we will make sure that we include them in the viewer slideshow, the next one that we will produce.
Yep.
And that brings us to the end of the show. It's been really nice to be back. I can definitely feel that we haven't chatted with you guys in a long time. So it's been really cool to, have one more opportunity to see you. And I can see everyone's already saying goodbye and wishing us good holidays and so forth.
Yeah. It was great to be on. It was great to chat with you, Natalie, and everybody in the that tuned in. Like Robert.
Yes. I
And
have no idea why you were so big just now.
Don't forget that after we say goodbye, we're gonna have the slideshow of all the submitted images play afterwards. So if you haven't seen that, don't go anywhere. It'll play automatically after we leave. But it's been so great to chat with all you guys and have you on and join us, and a real honor. And definitely Merry Christmas to everybody out there, or Happy Holidays, and looking forward to next year.
Yes, I couldn't have said it better myself. It's been really awesome. It's always great to connect, and I'm sad to see this end of the season, but I'm really excited and look forward to what's to come in the new year. So to all of you, absolutely wonderful, merry, blessed, and peaceful festive season. May you get lots of rest and family joy in. You and Ritchie and the viewers, everyone must take the time to take lots of pictures, obviously. And we hope to reconnect with you in the new year. So thank you once again. And until then, keep well and have a wonderful rest of your day or a good evening, depending on where you are. And bye for now.
Yeah, with that, I think we're done.
Yes.
Bye.
Alrighty, bye everyone.
Good night, and thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy the show.